If you're going to be addicted to something, let your addiction be prayer. Let your addiction be Jesus. Prayer has two parts to it. It has an active and the passive. Prayer is basically the speaking part of our relationship with God of the universe. The criteria by which we may judge any relationship is the quality and volume of the communication. I once read that the chief problem in marriage is communication. When there's a breakdown in communication, it manifests itself in many other areas of the relationship. Time and again, we're told by marriage counselors, communicate. Are we not the bride of Christ? Is that not who we're espoused to? Should we not communicate more with being the bride of Christ? For some reason, God has typified our relationship as a marriage relationship. The passive part of our prayer life depends on our keenness in listening to the Lord. Some people say, the Lord never talks to me. But the scriptures tell us differently. In John 10:27, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. Jesus is speaking, but we must train our spirit to hear him. That we know what he's saying. In any good conversation or dialogue, both persons respect each other enough to stop and listen. Listening is more than just hearing. In the business that we have in travel, there's so many aspects to it. It is so important that we listen to what it is they want to know about. Because when we want to tell them about these 15 other things, they don't really care. What they want to know is about this cruise. They want to know about this. It's no different when we're out winning souls. Listen to the people that you're speaking to. You're going to hear their cry. God's going to use you to hear their cry, to be that ambassador, to be that person to respond, to do what needs to be done. To be honest, I've been a person who is not always, most of the time I've tried to dominate my conversation while in prayer. And it occurred to me, if I will just give a little more time to listening to the Holy Spirit to communicate back to me, I'm probably going to have a little bit different of an outcome. And so I've had to change my time, my methods, my ways. I've discovered that I had to practice listening. Be still on the inside. Settle your spirit. Find that quiet place. Find that closet where you won't be interrupted. Nicodemus came to Jesus at night. Probably because there weren't going to be a lot of people around him and he could ask him his question. During the day, all those people around there, all over him. Open your heart and minds to the Spirit of the living God. Psalms 119:18 says, open thou mine eyes that I may behold wondrous things out of thy law. We must work at quieting ourselves before God so that we may listen effectively. What is it you want from me, Lord? See, we're so busy asking him what we need, but we're not saying, what is it you want from me, Lord? What does the Lord want from you today? Prayer is important. Our church knows because I teach on it probably 20, 30 times out of the year. Sometimes more. Sometimes it's week after week. I say, well, God, give me something else to tell you about prayer. But they're golden nuggets. There's something you can hold on to. There's something that you can get a hold of, something that can get a hold of you so you can get it inside you. Prayer is important. Fasting is important. There's a lot of scriptures as well as good books on how to fast. The most common is to give up 3 meals in one day in a 24-hour period. As a Mormon, we learned to give up those 3 meals. We stopped on Saturday at noon, and we didn't eat again until Sunday noon after church. That's what I think most people do. And that you should also then spend time in communicating in prayer with God during this time. How many of you know that fasting does not get God's attention? We don't fast so that God will listen to us. Right. Well, if I go on this 3-day fast, he might finally hear me. Right. No. Maybe if I deny my flesh and I humble myself, where I'm a little weak, I might be able to put some of these fleshly things aside and actually hear from him. I might be able to hear what he has to say to me, what thus saith the Lord, what the Lord has to say to me. And can I tell you, you will not starve to death. Been on a 3-day, been on a 5-day. Never killed me. Heard people gone on 7, 21, 40 days. I have heard people that have been killed, or died, on some of those long fasts because they screw up. They don't do it the right way. You know, we got to be careful. It's the holy temple, the temple of God. You can't just go out and eat some hot, fiery burrito after being on a 40-day fast. It is not going to be a good outcome if you make it through. Fast and pray for something specifically. Esther had her family and her servants fast and pray. See, she knew that she had to touch the throne of God. She wasn't getting his attention. They were humbling themselves to hear what thus saith God, the Lord would have to say to them. Because they were going to be killed. They were going to be annihilated. There had been an edict that was going to go out and kill them. She had to go in and see the king, which was not something that should normally be done without an invitation. Before anything important comes in my life, it's got to be some prayer and fasting. Because I want to know. I want to know that I know that I know that God has laid it out. When he sent me here, I fasted and prayed 3 times because he said go, but I didn't want to go. Because there was snow here. There's not snow in Arizona, at least not in Phoenix. He said go. I fasted and prayed again. He said go. I said, but Lord, this man's recently divorced. I know what some of these gay boys do. I'm not going to move 2,000 miles away and then be sitting there by myself wondering why he found somebody pretty or somebody younger. I had some valid reasons. They were good. But when I seriously sought him and had given him my excuses, given him my reasons, God said, I will take care of the seasons. The seasons are beautiful. I enjoy them. Sometimes they may last a little longer than I want, but he provided free flying on Delta and Northwest Airlines that I can get out of here from time to time during those times. And I said, but what about him? What's going to happen with him? How are you going to work that out? He said, if you will love me first, and then yourself, and then you can give out your love. As long as it comes in that fashion, in that manner, I will take care of everything. And you know what? He has. He's taken care of everything. See, that prayer and fasting didn't get his attention. It got me humbled where I could hear what I needed to hear. I could have told him no, but he would have kept prompting, Many of us, it took several years to get somewhere where we needed to be because we kept saying, no, God, it probably wasn't me. I'm not the right one. I'm not spiritual. I'm not religious. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a leader. We tell him. He hears it, but do we hear him, what he responds back to us on?